Welcome back, everyone, and thank you all for joining us today. This is our fifth UniFi installment. In previous presentations, we covered UniFi Door Access, UniFi Protect Surveillance Solutions, UniFi Switching and Power Tech Solutions, as well as UniFi Integrations, which included their audio and video, their business VoIP, EV charging, and also mobile connectivity. We covered a lot of info. We had excellent turnouts for each presentation, as we also do today. And if any of you missed any of our previous presentations, we have them all available on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/ISP Supplies. So make sure to check them out if you haven't already. In the last few weeks, we have been concentrating on UniFi Cloud Gateways with our marketing efforts, such as email blasts, email signatures, social media campaigns. And this has drummed up a lot of questions from our public. And the most common question we have been receiving from customers is, how do I know which cloud gateway I should use for each different install? And that's what triggered today's webinar titled Choosing the Right UniFi Cloud Gateway for Your Deployment. We're very thankful to have Andrew Piper back with us today. He knows the UniFi line better than anyone else I know. And he's here to help us navigate through the different cloud gateway options and learn how to determine which solution best fits your specific deployment need. Questions, please submit all your questions and we will answer them throughout the webinar. We also have some already submitted questions to cover. We actually reached out to our support team and collected some of the most popular inquiries that they've been receiving, and we will cover those today as well. So we have a lot to talk about. Andrew, it's great to have you with us today. Thank you for preparing today's material, and please take it away, sir.
Thanks, Jonathan. And thanks everybody for being here today. Appreciate the introduction there. I'm excited to talk to you about this today. I think this is a subject that's much needed always. It can be very confusing. You know, one of the things that's unique about UniFi, compared to a lot of vendors that I'm sure some of you worked with out there, there are some vendors out there that mandate that you manage the device, that manage your network devices in a very specific way. They give you, maybe they require you to cloud host all your, they provide the cloud hosting and it's a required subscription. You get the cloud hosting, and then there's really no question about how you're going to manage your devices. With UniFi, we approach it a little differently, where we're trying to we provide a lot of flexibility with how you manage your UniFi devices. We support, local management, cloud management. You can have it set up on a software install where you can run the UniFi network software. You can do a number of different ways. And I think the downfall of that approach is, the challenge for that approach is that it becomes more confusing. So a lot of times when we get people that are working with UniFi for the first time, this is one of the questions that I hear most often is like, hey, do I need a cloud gateway and a cloud key? Do I still get cloud access if I don't have a cloud key? We're going to clarify all that today, and we're going to try to clean that up and make that a little more easy to understand. I think, like I said, I think what I recommend focusing on the cloud gateways, because at this point it's the best experience. The idea of a cloud gateway is these are devices that sit on a local network, act as the router, the gateway, the firewall device for that network, and they also act as the controller, or they run the software application that manages the devices. Some other products call that a controller. We call that our console. And so with the cloud gateway today, we'll talk about these devices that are really convenient. They act as a gateway. They do all the security services for the network, but they also manage your UniFi applications. So it's just really kind of all-in-one feature that makes it very plug and play. So we have all a simple function. We don't want you to get caught up in the weeds of knowing which device to choose and being, we don't want that to become a downfall of the simplicity of the deployment experience. So today we'll hope to clear that up some. And even if you're deploying UniFi on a large scale with lots of businesses and you know a lot about the product, I think we'll have some useful information for you as well. So it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or you're well experienced. We'll try to provide some useful information to you today. As always, as Jonathan said, I welcome any questions you have, and I'm sure that you'll have some for me today, and I'll be happy to answer those. Let's go ahead, and we're going to do a real quick introduction. We've done this on a few other calls, but I'll just gloss over this. But you guys know at this point, UniFi is a unique company. We approach our business differently. We have gone from, just in 15 years, from 2010, 2011 of having our first indoor access point on UniFi line, to having now a full stack solution that does any stadium size from all the way up to, or any deployment size all the way up to full stadiums, just with UniFi network devices. We also have expanded into other areas, which I'll cover in just a minute. But we've grown so quickly because we approach our business differently. This kind of shows you kind of the three kind of core pillars of our brand. We focus on making quality hardware. At the end of the day, that's our identity. We see ourselves as a hardware company, and that's one of the things that makes us unique. We're not focused on upselling you on services or trying to add on all these things that we can make additional money on. We want to focus on making the best possible hardware and adding on a lot of benefits to you that make this easy to manage and enjoyable experience to work with our products. That brings us to our software. We provide some of the most innovative software on the market. I would say that we develop software features rapidly than anyone else I know, and that means that we're constantly improving the experience, and that's pretty cool when you consider the fact that we're one of the only options in the space that are also free when it comes to software. So it's a great thing about UniFi is that if you subscribe, if you're using UniFi, you pay for our hardware. You don't have to subscribe to any license fees, but you can still get this product that matures and grows over the course of operation. I think that's one of the reasons people like using us a lot and why they keep coming back to work with our products. And that brings us to the third point, which is no matter what of our UniFi products you're using, they all come with license-free cloud management, which means you can manage them conveniently from anywhere across the world. And this means if you're an MSP or integrator, as I suspect many of you on this call are, you can build a whole successful business offering UniFi and providing maintenance for your customers. We see this being a really important part of the value proposition. We want you to look at it, those licenses that normally go to the vendor. Instead of going to the vendor, we want those to go to our MSPs and integrators to offer maintenance and provide recurring revenue for you, while the end user still saves more money and has a better experience than they have with other products. So that's kind of the whole, that's kind of the whole big picture of what we're focused on doing. We're coming out with this full end-to-end IT solution. We first started with network years ago, and initially access points. I started working here at 2015, and that was before we had launched our first gateway device for UniFi yet. And now we have a full stack of all the way up to enterprise network solution. We also have UniFi Protect, which is our video security platform. Really evolved a ton. We're seeing a lot of growth. It's growing a lot in AI features. So really cool automations and things that you can do to be able to look for, have a text-based search, for instance, like look for, let's say I talked to a hotel chain that wanted to set it up to where they would look for trays being placed on the ground in the hallways of their hotel. And then as soon as that's seen, it will go ahead and generate a webhook that creates a ticket with their housekeeping team, and we'll get them to come upstairs and remove that tray within a matter of minutes instead of sitting there and kind of making the hallway look cluttered. That's an example of something we support with UniFi Protect. So it's a really smart, sophisticated solution that still has that benefit of no license fees. So you just pay for the products, and then it adds on all these smart AI features, which a lot of other vendors out there really charge a lot for use. We also have UniFi Access, which is our door security platform. So doing things like gates, elevators, entry points at your businesses, doing things like intercom functionality. We support all sorts of different methods of access, including license plate recognition, facial recognition, PIN codes, QR codes, all sorts of things, including our UniFi Identity Endpoint app, which is free now for unlimited scale. We also have UniFi Talk, which is our VoIP solution. We now have our third generation of UniFi Talk, which is the G3 products, and these products have the added benefit of being the first UniFi phones that allow you to either use our PBX software, which offers a lot of easy setup. It's very straightforward to get working with it. Or if you want to bring your own third-party PBX solution, you can use our phones with that third-party solution. And these phones give you that benefit of being able to do things like act as an intercom device to receive calls from the front door, open that door, see camera feeds, etc. We also have UniFi Connect, which is a sort of evolving IoT platform, including things like digital signage and displays where you can manage seamlessly, program out content for your display, for your TVs in a workplace like retail or hospitality. You can have it set on a schedule to change, in a restaurant, have it change from the breakfast menu to the lunch menu at exactly the right time and everything else. But this is just really streamlines the experience of managing your displays. But you can see this vision of we're positioning ourselves to be this end-to-end IT solution, or this IT solution provider where we manufacture all these different solutions that then you can use these to build a successful business around. Or if you're an end user, you can leverage these to save a lot of money and have a better experience managing your IT ecosystem. So we're trying to make it ultimately scalable to any scale, so that you can do thousands of deployments through UniFi without ever paying a cent to us in license fees, which means you can build a really successful business. We're trying to eliminate a lot of the pain points. So those licenses, of course, which if you've worked with devices that require licensing, it's really a pain to manage. But we've added a lot of other added benefits to our software to make it really easy to use and scalable. And then we're also coming out with some really cool features to help automate the experience of monitoring your networks, your physical security deployments, where you can set up, you can automatically set up criteria for let's say that you want to look for certain performance metrics. If the threshold's reached on packet loss on the WAN, then you want to go ahead and reboot the modem. You can have that our product look for that and then generate a webhook that then initiates a restart on that modem. All sorts of different options are available. You can have it create tickets through your own ticketing platform like Zendesk, and then use that to be able to find if there's an issue on a network. You can also automate the mitigations responds, and then even include things like emails that are sent out to the customer saying, "Hey, we noticed this problem on your network. This is what we did to fix it, and now we're seeing dramatically improved results." You send that to your customer. If you're being paid to monitor their network for them, you send that to your customer, and you'll win over a customer for life to show that you're that dedicated to where you're looking proactively for these issues. You don't have to have a team looking at it. You can say create your own thresholds for performance, and then automate your whole management experience so that you can really scale the way your business can grow. So that's the ways that we're trying to improve this feature set and make it a more attractive proposition all the time with UniFi. Let's move on to the subject of our. Before I move on, I just want to give a few chance for any questions that came through on that. Jonathan, you got anything for me?
A few questions came through, but not regarding what you covered. So if you want to jump into the cloud gateways, we can go ahead and cover those questions a little bit after you kind of
Perfect. Sounds
tap
great.
into
Let's
it a
move
little bit.
on then.
Okay.
All right, so cloud gateways, as I mentioned, are these all-in-one device that offers a lot of convenience when you're deploying UniFi. You plug in your access points, your switches, your cameras. The cloud gateway can be that device that runs the software, brings everything together in one in one control plane, one single pane of glass, and really makes it a simple, easy experience to manage. Um, our We've dramatically evolved. A lot of people out there, I go to conferences all the time, and a lot of the things I hear from about UniFi when I talk to people about our full stack solutions, especially, is a lot of times people aren't aware of how much our product's really grown. They might have checked out our firewall back in 2020, which you can see there. That was when we had 6.0 was released. But you can look at the amount of features we released in the last 5 years alone, especially even the last 2 or 3 years. We now have a firewall solution, a gateway solution that can do that really has parity with a lot of those next generation firewall solutions out there. These vendors that often their products will cost a lot more. We can do everything that you can do in those products, but while offering a more affordable upfront cost. And then, of course, where we really shine is over the total cost of ownership. A lot of these gateway providers charge very expensive licenses to operate their gateway device. So if you're using in some of your places of work, if you're deploying Fortinet devices or Palo Alto or things, check out what features you rely on. And then verify, and I can tell you, you can look at UniFi and see if we have parity for those features. I bet you we do. If we don't, I guarantee it's on the roadmap and coming if it isn't already there in early access. But what really is impressive is we can do what they can do, but we're still offering a huge cost savings and this really improved experience overall from the full stack network management. So you can see here, in the last year, we've added support for API documentation. We now allow you, if you're trying to set up your own advanced configuration, to be able to script, like let's say that you're managing an apartment complex for a customer, you want to have it set up to where anytime a customer creates an account at the apartment, it automatically goes through the process of allowing them to fill out a form, which will give them allow them to create their own SSID. You can have that integrated with the API to automatically create that through the UniFi software, where no one has to go in and open that up, but it allows you to be able to automate this whole experience of managing and developing exactly the kind of solution you need with UniFi. We support that now. We support a lot of other features, including zone-based firewalling, traffic flows, improved QoS. In the last version we released, we brought dynamic routing protocols, which is a big deal. We have now a full enterprise quality threat protection platform, including a partnership with Proofpoint with their enterprise tier. A lot of other vendors are using the same solution, but instead of us charging that for a profit, we provide an option for you to upgrade your baseline threat protection to the enterprise tier. And what we do is we make that available for you for an additional cost, but it's not price priced for profitability. It's priced for just making that available if you're someone that needs that for a deployment. So that just still gives you added value over competitors, but options there if anyone needs it. We still have that default IDS IPS, which is adequate for most deployments. But we offer the option to upgrade now with cybersecure, which is another great feature. Also, our SD-WAN platforms evolved a ton. We can now do 1,000+ sites with Site Magic with our hub and spoke configuration. So really, it's grown a lot. We can do a ton of things with it. If anyone has any questions about features or anything you want to know over support, feel free to throw it in the chat. But I can tell you we're really a mature gateway platform at this point. Here's a basic, just a basic set list of some of our gateways. This is not all of them, but this is gives you a good comparison of some of our cloud gateways and what they do. For instance, the Enterprise Fortress Gateway now is our most high capacity gateway device. It can handle full stadium worth of traffic. We have an NBA stadium running these as running 2 of these in high availability, but it can handle all the traffic for 18,000 attendees these games. So it's really a capable device. It runs UniFi network software. We also have the Dream Machine Pro Max, the Pro SE, the UDM Pro, which are good for large scale deployments where you need multiple multiple applications, like you're going to use the talk phones or the protect, a handful of protect cameras. This basically acts as an all-in-one device, including the MVR functionality. And then we've got compact form factors and Wi-Fi integrated gateways as well. We'll do some comparison in a little bit, but I just want to give you just an overview of some of the options out there. But our website makes it really easy to compare our products. I'll show you that in a little bit because I think that's the best way when you're trying to make a decision on which gateway to use. I recommend going to our website. So let's talk about some of the other features we offer. So in the last 2 years, we deployed, we rolled out Shadow Mode, which is our VRRP solution for redundancy. So with any of our rack-mounted gateways, you can pair these into failover mode, including which automatically syncs up all the software, including like the backup of the software management. So that if that primary cloud gateway fails, everything's taken over and is transitioned over to the second device and just and basically instantaneous, where even calls won't be dropped. That's that solution is something that people needed for a long time. We've also had a request for a long time for people who needed for certain deployments hot swappable PSUs. We now on our enterprise stack, we have full redundancy built into the platform, including hot swappable PSUs, shadow mode. On our switches, we have MC lag, stacking coming to a set of switches we're releasing in the fall. We also support a lot of on our new enterprise access points. We have redundant PoE ports. So basically, with our new enterprise stack, you guys can deploy a network with UniFi that has no single point of failure whatsoever, which makes you much more well suited for those critical deployments. We also, these cloud gateways also provide this global cloud access. So, the question, do I need a cloud key if I have a cloud gateway? The answer is no. Our cloud gateway is everything that you need in deployment to manage the applications, as well as to provide that cloud access. But in fact, if you're just using our access points even, and you're using them, manage them on a cloud key, that includes cloud access. So really any way that's supported to manage your devices comes with free cloud access. So just remove that cloud key as a requirement for any sort of cloud access. It's not necessary. And there's lots of other ways to manage the application. We also have added SSL inspection decryption with Next AI inspection. So this allows you to set up automatic queries to look at, even looking at what kinds of traffic or what kind of searches are being made. You can create filters that track certain searches, like if someone's searching for guns at a school, you can have a query set up that automatically looks for that and can find any of that activity, and then you can either track it or you can track and block it automatically. This also allows you to block suspicious files via attachments if you have a very high security deployment that you need to use this. This is a great platform that really allows you to do a lot to fine-tune a security approach for your customer. And what's cool about this, other vendors out there have SSL inspection encryption, of course. What's unique about ours is that it's totally license free. This doesn't cost anything to use this. Very unique, and that's something that I think sets our product apart. We've also got, as I mentioned before, we've got really improved the multi-site management experience. So over the last couple of years, we've made the site manager much more capable of giving you high-level overview of what's going on. You get graphs of how your ISPs are performing, including like what's the uptime, what's the packet loss, jitter, and you can look at this for all your deployments. With the API, you can also take this stuff out of the site manager, put it into your own dashboard to manage to visualize. If you want to use your own Grafana dashboard to look at all your sites you manage, whether it's UniFi or another third-party product, you can bring all the UniFi products into that with the API, and that's no problem. We're publishing documentation. We already have a documentation published for our site manager for our applications, and we're just going to keep adding more and more there as time goes on. We've also made it to where you can do firmware updates from the global level. You can also manage permissions at the global level. So you can see here, you can take a whole organization of employee, if say you do 25 sites for a customer, you can have a global permissions for that site. You can create a site group to house all those deployments within, and you can give admin access for as granular as down to the device on certain deployments, and allows you to be really systematic about how you give permissions to. What's cool about this is you can also have this integrated with SSO, to where you guys do an SSO sync for your customer, where they can have their employees log in to our identity endpoint app, which is totally free, and they can log in with the SSO with your third-party SSO account and log in, and then they can click one-touch Wi-Fi, one-click VPN. They can open doors with one click. They can view cameras. Whatever you give them rights to do, they can do within that application, and it's totally free, and it scales to a whole organization. What's cool about this, it means you can have an SSO sync, so that if an employee ever is offboarded, immediately they're removed from the SSO, and they lose access to all those network, VPN, everything else, and no actions needed to restrict access. That means you don't have to change passwords or manually change any of this, which I used to manage an IT environment. I can tell you this type of thing saves so much time. And so this is where we're trying to make it convenient. And again, no license associated with any of these features I mentioned. So this has really improved dramatically, and another reason people are using us on larger scales now. We also have a lot of control we built in, including we have a very sophisticated firewall solution, including zone-based firewalling now. You can do app-based blocking. We just are getting ready to release a whole new content filtering platform with 100+ categories with it. There's going to be a ton of fine-tuned control, and there already is with our application. And gives you the full control you need to be able to segment your network, deny access to certain resources with just a few clicks. So again, if you haven't visited the gateways recently, check out the feature set, compare it to what you're deploying right now, and you'll find that UniFi offers an exceptional value and a great experience. We have now detail, like we mentioned, the SSL inspection. We can do things. We have sandboxing coming to the devices as well, which is also another feature that a lot of other gateway devices leverage that it costs a lot of money. This is something we're making available as well. We've also expanded our detailed analytics, so you can do syslogging, SNMP, of course. We also have turned on the ability to use SIEM or SIEM. I don't know how you pronounce it, depends on the person, but SIEM logging, so you can export to whatever server you want, like Splunk. You can ingest all that logging and be very granular about what kind of logs that you want to pass to that server. But this allows you to integrate it with your whatever solutions you have, and be able to analyze your network and get what information you need from there. Our SD-WAN platform, I would say, again, this is a license-free SD-WAN platform. For some vendors, that's a license fee on its own. But just in a few clicks, you can create VPNs, mesh configuration, or a hub and spoke, including full failover to multiple failover options and everything. You can do that just within a few clicks. So it's so easy to use, and it's really scalable. We can do up to 1,000 sites now with SiteMagic. And I think that's a really attractive platform now to get more people using our gateway devices. So this brings us to the next question. Before I move on, if there's any questions about features, I'm happy to answer those. Yeah.
Actually, we do have a handful of questions here to go over before we jump to the next section. One of them, can UniFi Cloud Gateways manage older UniFi devices like the USG or Cloud Key?
So they can't manage the USG and the Cloud Key. The USG and the Cloud Key would not be managed on the Cloud Gateway. What you would do is you transition from a Cloud Key to a new Cloud Gateway. The Cloud Key runs the software just like the Cloud Gateway does. And for a lot of people, it's going to be a matter of if they're going to add a cloud gateway onto a network, they'll just basically take a backup on their cloud, their cloud key, and they'll restore that onto their new cloud gateway. It'll bring all the software configuration, settings, everything from SSIDs to VLANs, all that will be imported, and then you can manage. It'll streamline the configuration process. So so at that point, you transition from the USG and the cloud key to the new cloud gateway is what that would do. It would replace that function. Now, everything else, switches, all that stuff, it can manage just the same as those devices could. But that's the example where we've consolidated the cloud key and a gateway device into one device with the cloud gateway, and that's where it offers more simplicity and convenience. And I do recommend if you have some older sites using a USG and a cloud key to absolutely migrate to a newer cloud gateway.
All right, good deal. And that actually brings us to the next question. There's a couple of questions here that are similar here, so we're just going to cover them together. How do I migrate from a cloud key or self-hosted controller to a cloud gateway?
So it's a really simple process. You can check out we have guides on our help center. I can show you that in just a minute. But you can basically, let me just show you this right now because it's a good time for me to show you.
Yeah, we have plenty of time.
Yeah, this is a nice way to showcase this. But if we go in here to, I'm going to go to our help center right now, help.ui.com. Let me show you a few things so I want to show you our GPT tool. So this gives you some really nice way to answer questions like this really quickly. So if you had the same question, like how do I migrate from a cloud key to a cloud gateway? You can just ask this question here, and this is totally free. It will network you with our help desk resource or with our help resources. It explains the steps right here, and then it'll provide articles as reference just to confirm all the details and everything. So you can see here we've got this references you back to that backups and migration UniFi. But this explains the steps. But we'll just go ahead and click on this backups and migration here, and here it explains how to transfer here. So what you'll do is you go to the old device, go to settings, control, backups, restore, download a local backup, and then you'll install that cloud gateway, and you'll restore that backup in the setup process, and then it will immediately take all those settings and everything and bring them onto the new device.
Wow.
So that's simple.
Thank you. UI plus AI equals too easy.
That's right. But yeah, so that GPT can answer all sorts of questions if you guys need it. But we have tons of articles here based on the subject. You guys can just feel free to go browse through these, get answers. You can also search for these as well. But I recommend using the GPT because it'll network you with the resources that you want.
Thank you, Andrew. Here's another question. You answered part of this already, but are there any alternatives for full redundancy for the controller function except for running a virtual machine on redundant hardware? Example, can I run 2 cloud keys for redundancy and having the config synced between them and that any of them can die without losing controller function?
So what I'd recommend, so the solution I would recommend is our cloud gateway. So our cloud gateways run on these devices. They actually run the software, and if there's a failure, you can have it set up in VRP to where they automatically switch over. Let me show you, see if I can show you a graphic of this. Here you go. So you can just have another one set up in shadow mode. It'll automatically sync over all the software configuration, and then if that primary fails, it'll automatically switch over to the other gateway. This is supported in all of our our UDM Pro, UDM SE, UDM Pro Max, as well as our Enterprise Fortress Gateway. So any of those devices are going to be able to support the VRP. I recommend that as being like the gold standard for redundancy when it comes to managing the network application, as well as your firewall. It keeps everything, and it's really managed. It's really not obscenely expensive or anything, especially you consider UDM Pro is very affordable, and you can have 2 of those paired in high availability. All right. Other questions for me?
There's 2 more questions here, but I'm guessing the answer is probably check out the AI function on the website. But they are, what's the best way to set up VLANs, firewall rules, or VPNs on a cloud gateway? And how do I roll back firmware update on a cloud gateway?
Yeah. So yeah, you can check out our GPT tool. That'll be a great place to ask these questions. We've got some guides to help you with this process. So if you wanted to know how to set up firewall policies, all that stuff, you can get all that help through these articles. The cool thing about the GPT tool is it'll walk you through, it'll network you to the documents so you don't have to search for it, and then it's also provide you some helpful steps in the process. But yeah, it's really straightforward, like how to set up VLANs, for instance. And then it's going to give you an answer and steps of how this is done, and then refer you back to the documentation. So this is exactly how you can configure that, and then explains how to apply it to Wi-Fi networks and everything, and then also takes you through how to create VLANs in UniFi. This article here will be everything you need for how to create your VLANs. We'll walk you through it, but it's really straightforward. In the software now, we've also introduced a feature that you guys can go in whenever you're managing. Let me take you to my site manager here. I'm going to pull up a deployment, and then I'll show you how easy it is to use the search function within the actual device itself to get to what you need. So here I go launch into my network application. This is in a lab install in our Utah office here. I'm accessing it from Kentucky, so you can see very low latency, very snappy, despite going across the country. I can go in here, and if I want to, when you're ever curious about where to set something up, you can always now just search, how to create VLANs. So explains you the different places where VLANs are set up, including tag management, VLAN port profiles, all that stuff. So you can always search here for features as well. If you want to know how to configure something, you can just go in there. So like go to networks here, and then it takes you to the VLAN, create a new virtual network. There you go. You create a new network and you assign a VLAN to it. And so on. Yeah, so pretty straightforward. But yeah, any other questions for me right now before we move on, Jonathan?
We got a few more, but we can save them towards the end. So if you'd like to
Sure.
jump to the next section. Thanks,
All
Andrew.
right, cool. Yeah, so let me go back to the slide deck real quick. We're going to finish up a few things. I just want to have this brief discussion here about deciding which cloud gateway. So when you're making the decision, just we break these up into a few categories, and I think knowing which category, what their strengths are, and when you need them is helpful. So we have our enterprise scale, which includes our enterprise fortress gateway. What's great about this platform, or our enterprise scale gateway, is that it will work for any site, no matter what site it is. So if budget isn't an issue, and you want the most possible capacity, you want the most possible features, and your question is, can this gateway handle it? The answer with the enterprise scale is yes, because we can do full stadiums worth of traffic with our enterprise fortress gateway. So this can handle virtually any scale you need. So that's always a good thing to fall back on. If you don't know exactly which is best, our enterprise fortress gateway will work for any deployment. Now, our large scale products will also work for most deployments. These include our UDM Pro, UDM Pro Max, UDM SE. Really, the question is, do you need the UDM Pro or the UDM Pro Max? UDM Pro Max can handle twice as much throughput, or twice as much computing power as the UDM Pro. So anytime you're pushing the limit of what a UDM Pro can handle, I recommend to automatically, just at that point, upgrade to the UDM Pro Max. It's not a huge increase in price, but that's what I would recommend for most small enterprise deployments, or deployments where you need to use maybe a handful of cameras, that sort of thing. The UDM Pro Max or large scales will really do well in that setting. Compact is those cases where someone doesn't have a rack to mount something on. Small businesses, cafes, a lot of times they'll want a compact, or sometimes they'll also want a Wi-Fi integrated gateway. What's cool about our, like our UDR7, which is our newest Dream router, this device has an AP in it, a switch, and a cloud gateway, all built in one device. So you can deploy this in a cafe, and then you add on, and let's say they don't even have cables ran throughout the restaurant. You can have add an AP in the front and AP in the back, have them mesh to automatically provide a full coverage. And then you can even add things like our device bridge, which provides it's a device you plug into the outlet in the wall that then takes and provides PoE out, and it connects to the network automatically. So you take that and plug it into a camera at the front door, and there you go. You've got a full stack solution without running any cables, including physical security covered, all with one device. So really, that's great for small businesses or for residential. And basically, that's kind of gives you the rundown. I'll go through some individual models, but really, these are some questions that you want to think about when you're making the decision. So first, what's the priority for the deployment? Is it performance? Is it price? Is it a balance of both? When it comes to performance, obviously the highest performance is going to be your enterprise scale or large scale. Basically, you can see it as it grows up in capacity. You can choose whatever is exactly right for what you need. If they only have a 1 gig WAN though, and you know it's a small business, they have a 1 gig WAN, they want something to perform well. The reality is they're not going to get a lot of benefit from using an enterprise scale gateway if they're not going to be able to do a lot of multi-gig, but it is nice to have it in case in the future they do have an upgrade to be able to upgrade that WAN speed even further. There's still benefits from having that, but with our prices being so affordable with our products, a lot of times you'll have it's very easy to make a decision because there's lots of good options for affordability. A good question you also want to ask is how many unified devices can you manage? So each one of our get cloud gateways can handle a different scale of devices. So, for instance, if you have 400 APs and 100 switches, you're not going to want to handle those on our base UDM Pro, right? That's too much for that device to handle. You want to use our Enterprise Fortress Gateway at that scale. If you have only a handful of APs and switches, pretty much any of our cloud gateways will be able to handle that with the expression of our older UniFi Express, which is made only for very small businesses or for residential. But our new UniFi Express 7 can even handle 30 plus devices as well. So make sure you know how many devices you have and that you're going to be managing. Um, and, uh, and again, that's just the unified devices. That doesn't apply to client devices. We can handle hundreds of client devices from pretty much any of our gateways. Uh, so it's more of a question of how many unified devices you're going to be managing with the software, right? So the other question is what unified applications do you need? This is another area that's kind of confusing sometimes. Some of our gateways don't support all the applications. Some of them do. You just want to check out our website. I'll show you how to check and compare these before you make a decision. Because if you plan on using the cloud gateway as an MVR, then you'll need to add something else to it. If you're doing EFG like our Fortress Gateway, it only is optimized to run the networking doesn't have any hard drive bays on it. So if you want to act as an MVR, I recommend using the EFG and then adding on a network video recorder device. And what's cool in UniFi now is you can actually merge together multiple console devices into one single control plane, to where we have local site merged, where now it doesn't matter if you have an MVR and a Fortress Gateway and a Cloud Gate, you can have them all show up in the same stack as if they're all ran on one device. So really, there's no point in stretching the limits of what a cloud gateway can do with cameras. For instance, if you have 25 cameras, you're always going to want to get an MVR. And so if you do that, get an MVR and then get a cloud gateway, you can stack them up together and they can still be joined this one interface. Security features, that's the other question. So our Enterprise Fortress Gateway will have the most security features. And then in terms of that, beyond that, most of all of our large scale ones can support virtually the same in terms of security features. And then our compacts will typically support most of the same features as our large scale, with a few exceptions on the very small end. But just verify the features are there. And then also something to keep in mind too is, do you have a rack mount available at this deployment? Are you going to be deploying a rack? Is there anywhere to put it? Do you need a wall mount something? We've got several different form factors, including our Dream Wall, which can be mounted directly on a wall and has a switch integrated, a gateway, and a AP all in one. But it provides this really kind of convenient wall-mounted option for like a utility closet. So let's go ahead now. I'm gonna take you through our website to do the comparison and show you from here. But those are just some things you're gonna want to think about when you're making the decision. So our new website, we just now updated this website. It's really a great resource. I recommend checking out. It looks really nice. I'm really happy with where it's at right now. You'll find it's got a ton of useful information. In this case, if you're trying to make a decision about cloud gateways, you want to know how to compare our cloud gateways, you can just click up here on cloud gateways. And this will give you an overview of the product, what it supports, the features that some of them that we mentioned today. Like this is our zone-based firewalling. You can see we got high resolution images here showing you how it's configured, managed, etc. Show you how easy to set up a hub and spoke setup here. So you're taking it through. I can just in a few clicks create a hub and spoke, do failover. We support now multi-WAN up to 8 WANs of failover now. So this website's got a lot of good references, but now if you're going to make a decision, we integrate these really nice comparisons in through our site. So it's really cool. We could just start automatically, but let's say you're looking for a medium business. You want to know whether you need the Enterprise Fortress Gateway or one of our Dream Machine Pros. You can add all the models you're considering using here. Just go click compare on all of these, and it will create a side-by-side comparison. Let me zoom in so everyone can see. And now you can see and compare these devices across each other. So like I mentioned before, knowing which applications you need to manage. So let's say you have 8 cameras. You want the gateway to act as the MVR and to manage the network devices. You're not the Fortress Gateway won't work in that case. You can add an MVR to this device and that will work. But if you want them all in one form factor, then you probably want to go with the Dream Machine Pro Max or one of these other devices. And it explains the differences. If you have a question, what's the difference in the Dream Machine Pro, the Dream Machine Pro Max? As I mentioned, the Dream Machine Pro Max can handle basically twice the capacity of the Dream Machine Pro or Dream Machine SE, but they do all the similar things. The only other difference is that this device also has a second hard drive bay, so it can handle a few more cameras. You can see here the throughput numbers: 25 gig. If you have a 10 gig, if you're lucky enough to have a 10 gig WAN, and you want to turn on security services with IDS and IPS, the threat protection enabled, the Enterprise Fortress Gateway can do up to 12.5 gigs with all that enabled. If you have the Dream Machine Pro Max, it's 5 or 3.5 with the Dream Machine SE or Pro. So if you have a 10 gig WAN and you want to leverage all that, you're probably going to want to use the Fortress Gateway. Or if you're not going to need those security services in the Pro Max, like the IDS, IPS, then maybe the Pro Max will be just fine, or one of the other ones. And we have other explanations here, like how many ports, what's the port layout, and including things like, if you have two WAN connections, two 10 gig WAN connections, or a 25 gig WAN connection and a 10 gig, you can look here and see which one of these will support it. As you can see in that scenario, the Enterprise Fortress Gateway will be the only one that has the 25 gig and the 10 gig. But you can see here we've got other options on these other, including 2.5 gig. A lot of times that's more than what most people have, but some businesses will have 2.5 gig or 10 gig. But we have multiple options there, and you can leverage all those ports as additional WAN failovers. So you can have up to 8 different WAN providers, different ISPs. If you have really high criticality deployment, you want to have multi-WAN failover, including like something like a LTE solution. You can totally do that, and that's doable in UniFi now. So, but they all support VRRP as I noted. But you can see here, the only one with the hot solvable PSCs will be the Enterprise Fortress Gateway. Now, if you want to see what the pricing is, of course, you can check out our store. Wave here will give you pricing as well, but generally the MSRP will be as high as you'll expect to pay for these devices. But for the Enterprise Fortress Gateway, it's $2,000, and then for the Dream Machine Pro Max, it's something like $599, and you can get them a high availability pair for about $1,200. So just make
If
the
I can
decision. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, just want to interject real quick that if anybody's looking for any type of project pricing for any of these devices, let us know and we'll take a look at the whole project in its whole, and then we'll be able to determine what type of pricing discounts or price levels are available. All you have to do is shoot us an email to sales@ispsupplies.com.
Great, thank you. So yeah, so that's that easy to compare. So when anytime you're making a decision on a deployment, I recommend coming in here, checking out the different options available to you. You can even do it on the compact gateways if you want to know which one of these is right for you. Cloud Gateway Max will be really geared towards. It's kind of an all-around good option for compact gateways. When you have multi-gig, 2.5 gig ports on all the LAN, on all the switches, you can see here. 5 2.5 gig ports. So if you want to do full multi-gig, the Max is a great feature, a great option. So is the Cloud Gateway Fiber. This one also has the added benefit of supporting a 10 gig throughput. So it can do 10 gig, really a powerful device in a small form factor. People really like the Cloud Gateway Fiber. But the Dream Machine, the Dream Router 7 is a really good all-around standalone wireless router that also does all the management of everything, including MVR. Can do manage the phones, connect every app, and it can handle an impressive scale. So just check out the comparison. Anytime you're making a decision, you can use these to decide. The UniFi Express 7 is another great addition now too. Can handle a similar scale as the Dream Router 7. It's just going to be a little bit more affordable than the Dream Router 7, and then doesn't have the MVR functionality. So generally, I recommend the Dream Router 7 because the cool thing is you sell this to a customer, you can come back in the future and add on cameras without having to add on a new device, and still saves them some money. But yeah, that's the comparison features. So you guys can leverage this anytime you want. You can also check out our tech spec site where you can do the same type of thing. But our website has a ton of resources to help you make decisions and find out which device is right for you. And I think you can even get information about lots of features. So if you want to know something supported, go check it out on our website. And we have some really kind of helpful little widgets here. And of course, our GPT tools embedded in the sites. So if you have questions, you can ask here as well.
And Andrew, you
So,
were telling me that this new website was launched just a few days ago, right?
yeah, just like 2 weeks ago, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
awesome. So if anyone hasn't seen their new website, definitely check it out. It's got a ton of features loaded.
yeah, like we even give you like if you want to know how to get started, and you're like, let's say you're a small business, you want to know how to get started, you can just click on simple here. It'll walk you through our our kind of solutions for small business, like what do I need? Select a gateway. So it'll give you a choice of the gateways here, help you see what you need to choose. And then it'll take you through some basic features and everything, give you some recommendations here at the bottom. So check that out. And you can go through different sizes. So if you're a large business, this provides a Dream Machine Pro as a default starting point. Pro Max 48 switches, and then APs and everything else. Provide some recommendations. But we've added all this stuff to make it more convenient to get started. I also want to make you aware of a cool new feature we have, a cool new resource we have now, which is our case studies. So if you're ever considering like, is this going to be a good fit for this solution? Check out our case studies, and you'll see that we've got all different verticals covered, including retail, universities, stadiums, uh, churches, whatever you want. We've got a whole bunch of these here, and we're adding tons of these all the time. So I expect to see, we want to have like 50 plus of these, and I expect to see that in the next year or so, us increasing this number all the way up till 50 or 100 of these. But you can go check out and see like, okay, Micro Center is using UniFi in their store. What does their solution look like? Why did they go with UniFi? What types of products are they using on these stores? If you're going into a retail environment, like this is a great baseline to give you an idea of what you want to use in your deployments. But we have all these different options here available for you to check out. And of course, if you have one to submit to us, please feel free to submit a case study here. We'd love to hear from you. We're always looking for some polished examples, and we'll give you, someone who's lucky enough to get to for the drawing here. You can get $10,000 in store credit if you submit a
There's some
option.
really good school case studies in there too. Now that E-rate season is here, so
Absolutely.
definitely something to check out.
Yep. Definitely. And then in terms of other resources I mentioned here, one of the things I wanted to show you too was our our design center. If you haven't used it yet, it's a great place to lay out projects and to simulate what you want it to look like. This is a customer that just invited me to deployment, but you can go through, upload your own floor plans, and whatever scale you want. Like this is a full museum deployment outlined with enterprise products and everything. You can simulate coverage down to very granular details, uh, and look at 6 GHz. What's 6 GHz quality versus 5 GHz? What's 2.4? You can also switch to cameras here, and then you can get an idea of what the camera viewing angle is for a particular camera. You can put a camera, place a device here. I can go in here to cameras, and I can add in one of our AI pros, for instance. And here I go mount it. It snaps onto the wall, and then I can even drag it at that point and change the orientation of it to see how it changes the viewing angle and what's covered in that. And this works with walls to where you can see here. It helps me see what I would be able to see depending on how it's oriented. And this is a really nice feature that's totally free. So leverage this, take advantage of it. It's a great thing for planning your sites out and gives you an idea of what's actual simulated coverage going to look like. Of course, it doesn't replace the need for a site survey, but it does. It's so helpful in a lot of ways because it can really help you plan efficiently. And you can even generate your own bill of materials to go to Wave with and say, I want to buy all these products. You can also export a PDF for the customer as like a sales proposal, including things like branding. You can upload your own logo here, and you can put your own company name and everything, and it's going to change it to branding to where you can generate a sales proposal for a customer with a floor plan in like 15 minutes and have your own branding on it and everything. And this is like one of the ways that we try to help make your job easier as a UniFi customer.
So
So
awesome.
there's that. Any questions for me right now? We want to cover about Design Center or about what I just covered?
A couple questions from before, but you covered most of them. They're mostly comparison questions, but like Andrew showed, you can hop on the website and has the full comparison available to you right at your fingertips.
That's right. Great. Yeah. And any other questions you want to that I need to answer right
Let's
now,
see here.
Jonathan?
Let's go down a couple questions here since we have some time here. What UniFi applications, such as Protect, Talk, Access, can run on specific Cloud Gate models like the Dream Machine Pro or Cloud Gateway Ultra?
Yeah. So let's show you. So I'll show you this. You can choose any model. You mentioned the Dream Machine Pro or the Cloud Gateway Ultra. So I can go ahead and choose the Dream Machine Pro and the Cloud Gateway Ultra. I go ahead and throw those in there, and you can see which applications they can run on those. So the Cloud Gateway Ultra is very affordably priced. I think it's $129 or something like that. And that only runs network application because it doesn't have any storage on it to store camera footage and that type of thing. Whereas the Dream Machine Pro has a hard drive bay in it, and some integrated storage, and it allows you to manage all the applications. But you can choose any of our gateways, throw them in here, and you can see which ones they support, and it will tell you. Now, of course, it's not a problem if you want to go with the Cloud Gateway Ultra. That's totally fine. If you want to use the other applications, a lot of times, like I mentioned before, sometimes it's better off to offload it between multiple devices. So even if you have a Dream Machine Pro, let's say you want to install 40 cameras, that's too much to manage on one single hard drive bay, because if you want any degree of retention of storage plus the processing speed required to do that, you're going to want to add on an NVR. What's cool is if you start with 8 cameras, but you end up growing to need to get an own dedicated NVR, you can go ahead and add on an NVR to the network and then migrate the Protect application over to the NVR, but it doesn't change anything about the experience. It just makes it more scalable. Let me show you how this looks in the software. If I go back to my site manager, I can show you some examples I have here where I have, this is a site where we're running an Enterprise Fortress Gateway as the gateway, as and runs the network application. But you can see I also have another Enterprise Fortress Gateway in shadow mode. So if it fails, it'll take over, fail over to the second. I've also got a NVR Pro there running the Protect and Door Access applications. And I've also got a Cloud Key Gen 2 Plus running the other 2 applications. So you really, if you have a large scale deployment and you need to offload this between multiple devices, it's no problem. You can merge them all together to where they still show up in a single site like this. And you can see here, I can just click with the same way I would if it was on one device between the different applications, and it's still this integrated management experience here. So this is really one of the things that I think we've really improved a lot. So don't stress too much about what you can do if the site's going to grow. You always have options to add on more devices in the future and have multiple consoles play different roles, right? And so I do recommend, if you're ever concerned about scale, instead of trying to make it work on a bare minimum, especially with the cameras, if you have any number of cameras like 12, 15, you're always going to want to add on at least a base NVR model. And then we have everything up to 16 hard drive bay eMVRs. You can merge all those together with the Fortress Gateway into one deployment, into one single pane of glass. So it's still very convenient, and you don't lose anything. It just gives you more scale to grow. All right.
Great. Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, no problem.
Here's another question. Since that way, we've been working a lot with customers on MDU deployments. This question is, what's the best UniFi setup for an MDU or large property deployment?
Okay, so you can take a few different approaches. So if each, so in the event that you're going to want to have an MDU, you're going to have central networking and routing for the whole apartment building. A lot of times what I would recommend doing is using any scale like that, like an apartment. So if you're going to do it based on individual buildings, you can have either, if each of them has their own WAN connection to each building, you can have a gateway installed in each building. Or if you have one centrally located, you're going to want to generally go with a Fortress Gateway for a large deployment. If it's got, 80, 100, 120 apartments plus, you're going to want to have that, use a more powerful gateway device. So I recommend going with the Enterprise Fortress Gateway. And I've got some examples here of just like some different, let's go with apartment building. So you can also plan out your whole deployments down to each floor, including, what you're going to have in terms of gateway devices, access points. So this is just showing the access points for the apartments. And this is on 6 gigahertz, which is why it doesn't, it's all 5 gigahertz, these devices here. So what I recommend for an apartment complex like that scale, you go with the Enterprise Fortress Gateway as the gateway, and use 2 of them in high availability. Then I would like, in every room, what I kind of like to do with apartments is have for each room have maybe a in-wall access point or 2, and these act as a network switch for the wall that also has an access point built into it. You have a couple of these in each apartment. And then what's cool about UniFi, you can use PPSKs for each apartment, where each apartment has their own password. That means that everybody that's on this, in this apartment here, will log in to the same SSID with their own password, but that will put all their devices on its own VLAN to where they're isolated from the next apartment over. Even if they happen to connect to the apartment room's access point, it'll still keep them on their own VLAN to where they can still share with all their devices in their apartment, like their TVs, their media servers, all that. And even if they roam to the fitness center, they can still stay on the same VLAN. So I recommend for apartments leveraging our Fortress Gateway for that scale, having a good backbone with, good aggregation switch. And then for all the access switches, having enough, make sure you have enough PoE capacity to have any cameras or APs. And then within the rooms, I recommend using PPSKs to help segregate the network and keep devices from being able to access other apartments' devices. And what's cool about this is if you happen to do billing as well as a part of this process, you're charging guests for the use of the network. You can charge them, and if they don't pay their bill, you can just turn off their PPSK, deactivate that, and then everyone else still access the network without any issue. So that's my general overview of what I'd recommend is Fortress Gateway, and then and then our higher capacity switch models, and then in-wall APs or individual APs for the apartments, and one SSID with PPSKs.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And those were all great questions, actually. And thank you to our very interactive audience today. That's all the time we have. Thank you, Andrew, for answering them all and making it very easy to understand.
Yeah, my
Many
pleasure.
thanks for that presentation. And we'll be posting today's recording on our YouTube channel also. So if anyone would like to rewatch it or anyone missed it, youtube.com/ISP Supplies. And we're also going to be sharing it on social media. So make sure to subscribe and follow us. And also, if you haven't yet, head over to our website at ispsupplies.com. Scroll to the bottom of our website and join our newsletter so we can keep you up to date on any kind of feature presentations, events, promos, giveaways, trade shows, and news on practically everything that's going on in the industry. So make sure to hop over there, sign up if you're not on our newsletter yet. And if anyone needs help with any UniFi build for any type of small or large business, residential, or even MDU, please let us know. To shoot us an email, sales@ispsupplies.com. We can help you with a design. We can help you with equipment sourcing, staging and kitting, pre and post sales support, as well as training certification. So sales@ispsupplies.com, or you can give us a call at 855-WISP-PRO, which is 855-947-7776. And we're here to help you with pretty much everything that you need for all of your deployments, pretty much. So thanks again, everybody. Thanks, Andrew. And until next time.